Hey everyone, this is a tutorial video to help you in learning your solo Springtime Waltz by Franz Baer. Um, Begin this by talking about your time signature and your key signature. So let's take a look right here. We have 3 beats in a measure because there's a 3 now on top of the time signature. The quarter note is still getting the beat. And you have an F sharp in the key signature. So we're playing F sharps. However, my memory serves me correctly, and I am correct. There are no actual Fs in this entire song. So even though we have the F sharp in the key, we don't need to really worry about that particular thing in the song. Okay, so if you are playing your solo with a piano accompaniment or you are performing your solo with a recording, there are 4 beats of or 4 measures of rest at the beginning of this song. So an extended measure rest. My classes are not going to be performing with an accompaniment or a recording. So we're going to start just at measure 5 directly. So we're not going to wait at all at the beginning of the song. 3 beats in a measure. So you've got 3 beats here, and then in measure 6, we have a dotted half note, which is a 3 beat note. So it's going to get the entire measure. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. And that will continue through all of the songs. So 3 beats in every measure. It will not change. Okay, so I am going to play this, I think, sometimes 2 measures at a time, sometimes 1 measure at a time for you as we learn this. But as you are practicing, keep in mind that you need to be familiar with whatever little small chunk that we are working on before you continue in this video. So don't try and read through all of this to the end today. It's okay if you go through that one time, but make sure you can play each segment before you add it to the next segment. So for example, learn 1 measure and then the second measure, and then be able to play those 2 measures together. Then learn the 3rd measure and the 4th measure, be able to play the 3rd measure and the 4th measure together, and then go back and work so you can play all 4 of those together before you go on to the next section, so that you're learning it in small chunks instead of trying to play the whole thing all at once. So let's begin here at measure 5. I'll be note naming and fingering for you just to make sure that you know what's happening. And we have octave D here. So I have thumb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. D, first finger B, G, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, A. So I'll do that again. Octave D, B, 2 fingers down for the G, and then A in measure 6. Sounds like this. Now, before I continue, I want to point out this right here. This is a slur. I know it's a slur because this is 2 different notes, a D and a B. So that right off the bat tells me it's a slur. And this is an articulation marking. It tells us how I'm going to tongue something. And what it tells me is I'm going to tongue the first note. And the second note, I'm not going to tongue at all. I'm just going to move my fingers. So it's going to go ta, ta, ta. It's going to do the same thing here in measure 7 because this is exactly the same thing. Ta, ta, ta. So the first 4 measures, measures 5 to 8, it plays the exact same thing twice. But the difference is the first time it plays its mezzo forte, medium loud, or about a talking volume, a normal talking volume, like I'm talking to you right now. And then in measure 7, we're going to do it again, but this time we're going to play it piano. The P stands for piano, which is the Italian word for soft, a very soft volume. In other words, this is an echo. We're going to echo what we heard at the beginning at measure 5, And it's just going to be softer. We're not going to change the speed though. It's going to stay exactly the same. So when I play this back for you at the end of the piece, I want you to listen for the echo effect that happens here. Measure number 9. We have another slur. I'm sorry. Yes, another slur from G to A. So thumb 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 G, going to 1, 2 A, and then a B. So we are just walking this right up. Sorry, my screen's a little bit blurry, I think. So here's measure 9. So I tongued the G, ta, but not the A. Ta, ta, and then I retongue again on the B. So measure number 10 is going to be kind of the same thing, except backwards. So I'm going to go to second finger C, C, B, A. 2, 1, 1, and 2. So here's measure 10. Measure number 11 is exactly the opposite of measure number 9. So I'm just walking it down. First finger B, 1, 2 A, and 1, 2, 3 G. Ta, ta. And then I'm going to end this little part right here with a 3 count A on first and second finger. Measure number 13 is exactly like measure number 5. It's the same thing. Measure 5 and 6 and 13 and 14 are identical. So I'm not going to repeat that for you right now because we've already done that. Measures number 15 and 16. That's what that 15-16 means. Is this 2 measures that are resting right here. If you're playing with an accompaniment, then you would just simply stay in position, count those 6 beats. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, and then you would continue on starting at measure 17. In my class, since we are not using a recording or accompanist, you're just going to pause right here and then come right back in with measure 17. Notice measure 17 is exactly the same as measure number 9. G, A, B. Measure 18 is similar to measure 10, but we're just going to go a little bit higher. So let's take a look at measure 17. G, A, B. Notice that I am once again slurring the first 2 notes. So ta, ah, ta. Continuing on, I'm going to flip from the B to middle finger C, C, and then continuing on to the D with everything down. The octave key, this is an octave D, so octave key, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the D, and then I'm going to flip right back again to second finger C. So I have second, everything down, and then back to second finger. Measure number 19, B, first finger B, for 2 beats. So you have a half note, and then we're going to add the second finger for the A. Here is B to A. And that little section completes by adding the next finger, 1, 2, 3 for the G. Notice this is a dotted half note, so it's getting all 3 beats. Measure 21 through 24. This is a 4 measure extended rest. So once again, if you're playing with accompaniment, you will count 4 measures of 3 beats each. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. And generally, we would put the instrument down for the first two of those measures. And then on the third measure, we would come back up into playing position. And the fourth measure, we would take our nice full breath and be ready to come in at 25. If you're in my class, we're just going to pause, put the instrument back in place, continue on with measure 25. Measure 25 is easy peasy because we have 3 A's. This is 1 and 2. Measure number 6, we are walking up A, first finger B, and then flip this to middle finger C. Ta, ta is your articulation right there. Measure number 27, we have first finger B, everything down for the octave D, and then right back that to your first finger B. Ta, ta. And that will end with a 3 count G, 1, 2, 3, and your fingering. Measure 29, 30, 31, and 32 are exactly the same as, no, sorry, not exactly the same. Measure 29 and 30 are the same as 25 and 26, exactly, except it is the echo. So we're going to play soft here. Over here, we were mezzo forte, medium loud. So I'm going to play measure 29 and 30, since by now, hopefully, you know these two measures. Here's starting on the A in measure 29. Measure 31, I have a first finger B for 2 counts. Then I'm going to add my second finger for the A. And then I'm going to continue on downward by adding the third finger for the G. And notice this is a dotted half note, so 3 beats there. So I'll start here in measure 31 with the walk down. Measure 33, we once again have a 4 measure extended rest. We've already covered what those are, so I'm not going to say that again. And then we're now at measure 37. 37 is exactly the same as measure 5, and measure 38 is the same as measure 6. 39 is the same as measure 7, and 40 is the same as measure 8, with one exception. So the first time we did this up at the beginning of the piece, when we got right here, it drops down to soft, to piano. Remember that? Here it does not. So your volume of mezzo forte is going to stay the same all the way through this section this time. At 41, this is same as measure 9 and 10, but starting here, 43 to the end is a little bit different. So let's check this out right here. We have at 43, you have a first finger B for 2 counts, laying down the second finger for the A, and then we're going to play at 44 a G, 1, 2, 3, and this right here is a tie. Now we've had all these curvy lines that have been slurs, but this is something different. It looks kind of the same, but not exactly, because a tie happens when we have this curvy line between notes that are exactly the same note. They are the same line or the same space in the staff. So here I have a second line G and a second line G. So I know that this is a tie and not a slur. And what a tie does is it joins 2 note values together so that it makes a new note value. So I am tying a 3-beat note to a 1-beat note. So I do 3 plus 1. This is now a 4-count note. So I'm still counting in 3 beats per measure, but I'm going to hold this one a little bit longer. I'm going to hold this one for 4 beats long instead of 3. So I'm going to give you a count off, and I'm going to start right there at measure 44. So it's 1, 2, 3. And that is one of the things that a judge is really going to be looking for in this particular song is, did you remember to hold this for 4 beats instead of 3? So if this were my personal piece of music, I would do a couple of things to this. First of all, I would draw an arrow up here all the way across to signify that I was going to hold this out. I might write myself a note that says 4 beats. And a lot of times in my music, I cross this note out, just put an X on it to remind me, don't play that note again, because I'm just going to hold it. Okay. So sometimes that's necessary to make sure that you know what you're going to do. I'm going to go back to the beginning of this. I'm going to play this whole solo for you. Notice that it is marked allegretto. So this is kind of a fast tempo, but not real fast. It's just a little bit fast. And it is quarter note equals 116 beats per minute on your metronome, or 116. But the most important thing as you're learning this solo is, can you play it cleanly? That's what a judge really wants to hear. So you need to go a little bit slower than that to make that happen. Please do. I would not worry about going any faster than that speed, though. So we want to just be able to play it well is the main objective when you're playing a solo. If you can get it up to 116 beats on saxophone, you should be able to do that. That would be wonderful. The judge would like to hear that. But more importantly is, are you playing the right notes? Are you playing the right rhythms? Are you playing these articulations, these slurs, and the tie at the end? Okay, so I'm going to start out mezzo forte. 1, 2. Two, three, two, two. One, two, three, two, two, three, three, two, three, 4. Ready? One, two, three, two, two, three, three, two, three, 4. Set. So that's a little bit under the tempo. So you can practice with that. And then as you get better at playing this, you can start to begin to speed up the tempo. Make sure that you are practicing this all the way through once you learn all of the sections several times a day in order to build up your endurance in your embouchure. You don't want to get into the solo room in front of the judge and then start to get really tired as you're playing. So make sure that you are giving adequate effort to practicing. So I hope that you find this tutorial helpful as you prepare for your solo, and good luck.